Hello and welcome to Horror Legend with your hosts,
Legend
and Chris. Oh my god, laddie. we're back.
Oh, we're back again.
That was a terrible Scottish accent. For
Oh my god.
another episode of Horror Legend. I am your host, Chris. I'm a horror weenie.
I'm the other host, Legend, your horror buff.
Anyway, we're just drinking tea, by the way. It's not alcohol. It sounds like we're drunk right now,
Yeah.
but maybe we're just tired. I don't know.
Something in the donut.
Today, we watched a wonderfully uplifting family drama. I would call it a dramedy.
A dark drama.
A dark dramedy called Oculus.
Yes, so we did watch Oculus. Came out in 2013. It was directed by Mike Flanagan. He's a little more well-known now. If anybody's seen Haunting of Hill House, Bly Manor, Midnight Mass.
I loved Haunting of Hill House. Sorry, I'm eating a donut. I loved Haunting of Hill House.
Hill House was so good.
Hated Bly Manor.
Yeah, Bly Manor was not as good.
Awful. And you know what? My least favorite thing about that? Freaking showbiz.
Say showbiz?
No, that fucking show.
Oh.
There's like a 15-minute long monologue by this woman standing in a garden about a flower. About like the night blooming flowers.
Oh, that's right.
It is 15 minutes. And I was sitting there, I was like, what the? Like, I totally zoned out.
Oh my god.
It's awful.
See, but so Hill House was good. Bly Manor was not that great. But
Awful.
Midnight Mass was really good.
I didn't see that.
He also did movies such as Doctor Sleep, the sequel to The Shining.
Yeah, that was good.
Which was very good. Some dare say amazing. Mainly me. He also did movies like Hush, which was a Netflix one.
Oh, haven't seen that.
Things like that. Gerald's Game, I believe, as well.
Oh.
He's a really good director. And he's very much into horror. We also did The Fall of the House of Usher, the newer version.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that either.
Yes, also very good. But yeah, very much a horror director. I think he might be even slated to do more Stephen King things in the future.
Oh,
which would be great because he's, I think, good at it.
Yeah.
This movie starring Karen Gillan, who we know from Nebula in the Marvel movies and from Doctor Who.
I just know her from Doctor Who. Yes.
Brenton Thwaites. Brenton, yes. Last thing he was in was that Titans show as Robin. He hasn't really been around since. Well, I guess that ended in 2023, so it hasn't been that long. But
yeah, that wasn't that long ago.
It was not long ago. 2020 makes everything seem 20 years from now.
Yeah, that is true.
And
you didn't read that.
my handwriting looks like a Dr. Chicken scratched it. We have Katie Sackhoff.
Oh, I love Katie Sackhoff.
What else has she been in?
So I know her from Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, I've seen
so good.
Just like
except for the ending.
Of that, yeah.
So good. It was another Lost like ending where you're like, oh fuck you.
It was all a dream.
It was like a big middle finger to everyone. But anyway, that was a great show, I can't see her as anything but that.
I've never actually seen any.
Well, she's like a really tough like butch fighter pilot. And really, she has like a butchness.
She really does. Even in this, I'm like, I feel like she could kick somebody's
exactly.
ass.
She could have just kicked that mirror's ass to begin with.
Or her husband's.
Yeah.
Rory Cochrane. I'm not sure exactly what I've seen him in.
What's funny, his name's Rory, and Karen Gillian from when she was in Doctor Who, her boyfriend was named
Rory. That's hilarious.
Okay,
I remember that.
Yeah, I'm doing like the put it together math right now. And that 1, 2, 3, that makes 5. 5.
It's like 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
And then Kate Siegel, she does play a small character in this. The reason I point her out is because she is in pretty much every single Mike Flanagan movie. It is also because she is his wife, girlfriend,
lover.
They are together, but I mean that's probably not the reason she was put in those movies. She is a really good actor. Yeah. Despite that being something, she is a really good actor. I mean, she's been in Hill House and Hush and.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't know from this one because she doesn't really.
Yeah, no, you can't.
Just gives menacing looks.
Yeah, she's in makeup and everything. It's hard to tell who she is, but yeah, she's the sibling in Hill House who has the psychic powers when she touches people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Really good actor. But yeah, Oculus. So basically, a recently released inmate, supposed to be 21, from a mental asylum, which I would just call it a psychiatric hospital, learns from his sister that the murders he was convicted of committing were actually orchestrated by a supernatural entity. In this case, it is the Lasser glass mirror. It's a mirror that's been basically killing people for centuries. With whatever evil force is in it. Yeah. You don't really ever see the original evil force.
No. Well, now we need a prequel.
Right.
So this movie was produced by WWE Studios.
Which I totally forgot about.
I saw the WWE logo go up and I'm like, what?
It's because Katie Sackhoff just got done knocking people out in the ring.
That makes sense. Okay. Just kidding. So it starts with a cute guy discussing his dreams of murdering children with his psychiatrist. Oh yeah. But really, those children are him and his sister. Yeah. It's in the past. This movie, to some degree, switches back and forth, and then towards the end, it's very difficult to kind of describe what's going on because it everything's happening at the same time. Yes. Yeah. Past and present.
Some of the transitions, I will say, are amazing.
Oh yeah, they're good.
Very good. I mean, even in the end, whenever it's getting a little crazy, it's still like crazy transitions on how they do things.
Oh no, he did it. He did it really well.
Very well.
Of course, sorry, Karen Gillian. Is it Karen Gillian? I keep saying it wrong.
I always say Gillan.
I think it's Gillan. Karen Gillan. She is Scottish.
Karen Gillian Anderson.
Karen Gillian Anderson. Yes, welcome to the stage, Karen Gillian Anderson. Yeah. She is Scottish, of course. And,
yes. In real life.
In real life, not in the movie. Although her accent, like, immediately, the first line she says in the movie, she says, like, "Hey, little brother," but she's like, "Hey, little brother, brother." She's betrayed by the R's, brother.
I feel like. A lot of European actors can do American accents very, very well.
Oh yeah, I mean, most of it was good. She slips a lot.
Like you get her, Tom Holland's been doing an American accent so good that he apparently accidentally slips into it whenever he's just doing random stuff. But I'll give her the slip ups, and that's just because I think this was like her first big movie.
Well, that I'll give it because like Scottish accents must be hard to hide.
Oh my god, really, especially when you hear her actually talk.
They're quite pronounced.
Yeah. Like not that her voice is bad, but it's like a very pronounced accent.
She has like a mild Scottish accent too,
which is crazy.
You can understand her, and it's true. So it starts with her brother discussing things with his psychiatrist. He's being released from the psychiatric hospital, not an asylum. But
I mean, they called it a mental hospital, which I guess is better than it's better than an asylum.
It's better than an asylum. Not house.
Not house.
Funny farm.
Sorry. Yes. Yeah, the best way to say it is probably psychiatric hospital. But yeah, he gets out after the doctor clears him, even though he's still having dreams of shooting children. But I think it was a whole like, oh, you've kind of gotten over that this happened. It actually was this, and it's unclouded and you can see what happened.
I guess. I don't know if that's psychiatric. I don't know if that's psychologically correct that, you know, when you start seeing yourself killing yourself, then it's all right.
Yeah. As you know, I do have a doctorate in psychology.
Exactly. So he's out. His sister is trying to basically intercept the mirror between buyers so that she can take it.
Yes.
And kill whatever is haunting it.
Yeah, so she works for, like, what it seemed like she was doing was appraising things, so I'm assuming she's an appraiser for an auction house.
It looked like, yeah, she works for an auction house. It looked like it was like a really nice, like, Sotheby's type auction house, yes. Where you buy oxen.
Where you buy oxen. Because she's, like, looking at an antique almost chandelier whenever her fiance comes in that one time, so I think she's like your appraiser or something.
I don't know, she's putting tags on things.
Yeah.
Maybe she just puts tags on
things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's in the storage room, and she's intercepting it before it goes to the buyer that just bought it at an auction.
Yes. But we see the mirror spirit kind of right away. Before she actually gets to the mirror, we see kind of a flashback where they to when her parents first see it, when her dad first sees it. Yeah. So you see like the woman standing there with the creepy eyes, which was
Kate Siegel.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so we get right away like what's in the mirror, and it's spooky.
Yes. I would say like the paranormal aspects of this movie, the ghosts, very early 2010s looking kind of supernatural stuff for horror movies. But they look good.
Yeah.
I will say. Good. Like it's still like you're still playing with darkness and you're still playing with like glowing eyes, and it's just like, I mean, anybody like walking through their house late at night in the dark and you see even just glowing eyes and not even a person, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's still creepy. Like,
yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But yeah, we see that first in the beginning, and then it's when she's in the storage room when she unveils it with the sheet.
Mm-hmm.
That all of a sudden now there's 3 statues behind her.
Oh, I love that. Don't cover your statues with sheets. Don't do it. That's creepy.
Also, they're in a storage room. What is a sheet going to do?
Who does that? I mean, I personally work in a museum, and we don't cover statues with sheets.
Yeah.
They just sit.
I mean, even in the vaults, they just sit there.
Yeah, they just sit.
There's no sheets.
Yeah, that's too creepy.
It's cute, yeah. So, like, originally there's 2 statues behind her. She sees in the mirror that there's a third taller statue that's now moved its head and is looking at her.
Yeah.
And then the 2 little ones move their head and look at her at some point, and she goes over there, decides to unveil them, which of course, one
by one.
Yeah,
with the small ones first.
The small ones first, which of course in any horror movie you're watching that, you're just like, jump scare. It's going to happen, jump scare.
I wasn't really expecting it because she was going for the little ones first.
That's true, but you knew that last one if she were to get
Obviously,
to it. Yeah. Because then when the guy comes back in and asks if she's okay, it's gone.
Yeah.
It has disappeared.
Yeah.
And she gets it loaded into her car and taken away.
Yeah. Then she's... then we cut to her and her hot husband in bed. This is before she even gets the mirror. She has a dream that it's already in her house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she wakes up in the middle of the
That's
night.
Right.
She has a dream that it's already in her house, and her husband attacks her, but it's not really there. It's a dream.
That's her dad.
Oh, it was her dad.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
I already forgot.
She turns around, sees her dad, and her dad grabs her by the throat and pushes her up against the mirror.
Yes.
Only to realize it's a dream, and her husband wakes her up.
Okay.
She's obviously marrying Clark Kent.
Yeah, he does look like Clark Kent.
I was like, are you going to go into a revolving door and switch into Superman?
Oh my god. That would be a totally different movie. I'd be here for it, I think.
She becomes Lois Lane all of a sudden. I will say for this, like, one thing that's cool about the story is mirrors in horror is an insanely big trope.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's always like, I looked away from the mirror, I look back, something's behind me.
Yeah.
It's not really there. Oh my god. Mirrors in horror. But it is a classic horror trope, but it is cool that they made that Flanagan did an actual story based around a trope.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like he turned a main classic trope into a story, into a movie. Kind of turning it on its head a little bit and like actually doing something with it instead of just having be something small.
Well, yeah, because it was like a possessed object.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, but it was cool that he picked a mirror.
Yeah.
To really play with the whole, like, are we in another world, reality,
exactly,
reflection, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I just think that was a good choice.
Do you believe in haunted objects?
I don't know, the Warrens Museum's filled with them.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
But, I mean, maybe. Like, if something's around enough death, I guess.
I find some things have some bad energy. Yeah.
That is true. Yeah.
And who knows? Things I find like in an antique store or something like that. Certain things like just don't have a good. Yeah, I don't like it.
That's what they say. Like, you know, if it's been around for centuries. People have been around it. People have died around it and everything. It's like, I mean, something imprint's got to be left somewhere.
Yeah, I think some of it has like, you know, perfectly fine good energy with people who are like just had it in their home and, you know, they liked it, you know. And then there's like the bad energy.
And then the bad energy. Where, you know, tricks you and kills you.
Yeah. I mean, it happened to me. It didn't. So, in order to prepare for trapping the spirit or whatever she's actually trying to do, just catch it on film, prove it's there, just so that people don't think that she's crazy and that her brother's.
Yeah, she's trying to prove that it's there and has the camera set up. I think part of it is just in case the mirror starts messing with them, they can go back to the footage. Which at some point it starts messing with them so hard that they're not even able to do that.
Yeah.
And it's making them do things they don't remember doing, which is crazy.
Yeah. But to prepare for this, she's printing out graphic crime scene photos at work, which is a great idea.
And leaving them in the
printer. That would be something I would do. Yeah. I was like, oh, damn, I forgot to grab that.
You're at the museum and Jeff comes up. Damn. Your boss comes up and it's just like, so...
You know, something I thought about with those statues in the basement, she's already had experience with weeping angels, so she knows how to protect herself.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, she definitely does have experience with weeping angels.
Those are my favorite episodes.
Same.
Yeah, so good.
That's like one of the best concepts for a science fiction villain I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
From the original episode Blink
that was so good.
The one with her in it, which I forgot what that one's called, but
the library has which one? I think the one. I think it's the next one is the library, and it's a 2-part where it has Catherine Tate in it. I think.
Oh, okay.
No, that's a different one.
I think that's
No, there's the one where they go underground. It's like this big underground thing because one of their ships crashed.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Well, because I remember in the episode she was in, because you don't see it in Blink in the original episode, but the one that she's in, it's like they actually give you a moment to see the Weeping Angels moving, which was kind of cool.
It's kind of cool. I prefer to not see them move, though.
Yes, yeah. It's better when the lights flash and they're like still and moving and stuff. It's just creepier because of how quick and fast they're supposed to be. And everything.
Way creepier. Anyway.
Doctor Who.
Yeah, Doctor Who. She wants her brother to meet her at their old house to do this whole thing, which, you know, right away, I'm like, is she trying to send him back to the mental hospital?
I mean,
like, what?
I literally wrote, like, is she just trying to re-trigger her brother's trauma?
It's just...
My thing is, like, even if it's paranormal and something's creepy with it, you want to destroy it, whatever, like... Your brother kind of fixed his brain a little bit when it came to this stuff and got, like, over this kind of stuff and, like worked through it. And even if it's not fully correct in the way it happened.
Exactly.
Just leave it alone.
Let him go.
Let him be at peace with the fact that he came to terms with it. I mean, I know it's probably better for him to find out that he didn't actually, like, kill somebody.
Yeah.
But still, if he's already worked through it, don't re-trigger it.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I think, like, while he was away, she was, like, obsessing.
Oh yeah, because she didn't get to go to like the psychiatric hospital.
Exactly.
She got to be free in she went to foster care.
Yeah.
And so she was obviously just stewing on it the entire time. And it's like, I mean, so that dynamic makes sense of like he actually got the care he probably needed, and she just got so obsessive and obsessed with revenge on this object that it just took over her entire life.
Exactly.
Blinded her to the fact that this is dangerous, and which is like classic revenge kind of story.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just like, this is not... Maybe just let it die out a little bit. Whoever purchased it next, it's their problem.
That's what I was thinking. Like,
it's not like it's not like it's gonna come back for you if it's not in your house.
Exactly.
As you said, it has a radius. Yeah, and it's not gonna come back for you.
You're free now. Just move on.
Because she called. She was like, he goes to therapy. He's going to therapy. And at some point, she's like, wow, they really brainwash you. And I was like, wow, therapy's brainwashing.
Yeah, you know that it's funny because like at first it kind of plays with that again, that trope of it's not really a trope. It's like that psychological thing of people who go through trauma and then they make up things about it because they can't deal with it. And blah, 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 blah. So it was like that dichotomy of that, which he was getting from a psychiatrist, and then his sister being like, no, it didn't happen like that.
No, I'm going to unravel everything.
I'm going to unravel all of this. All of the help that you got, gone. I'm going to get rid of all of it.
Everything that you might have pretty much fixed, we're just going to ruin that right now.
When it went back to their parents again here, this was when I first realized that couple was their parents, because it was confusing at first.
Oh, yeah.
Because I thought they were like the new owners of the mirror. Like I was very confused.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But then we know that that's the past, and we meet Dog, which is... We never get to see Dog again after Dog runs out of the house. I
realized, I was like... So she tries to use the dog to get the mirror to do something. Because it did something to their dog when they were younger.
Yeah.
And it doesn't.
And he was like, why are you torturing this dog?
Why are you torturing this dog? She doesn't name it because she just wants to use it, which is already sad. And it shows even more that she's just blinded by this revenge kind of thing to like just put an actual life in danger. So he ends up releasing the dog, and part of me was like, it was the backyard, right? They didn't like just let him out the front door, and it was the backyard.
Yeah, there was like a porch,
which I'm assuming he's still out there. In the backyard if it's fenced off, because you never see him again in the movie.
That's true.
And I'm like, I literally at first was like, he didn't just like let that dog just run out of the neighborhood.
Probably would have been better for it.
Because he just lets it out and then he just closes the door and he's like, you're not doing this. And I'm like, where'd the dog go? Where's it going?
Never to be seen again.
Literally never to be seen again. So
I'm just gonna join the circus.
Right? I'm just gonna assume that it's alive.
Yeah, it's very famous now.
Yeah. Famous actor dog.
He juggles.
He chuckles at the circus.
She has tons of equipment set up, like almost like ghost hunting equipment set up with the cameras everywhere.
I will say really quick.
Yeah.
With the dogs, as always in horror movies, listen to your animals.
Yeah, that's true.
If your dog is not having a good time with whatever's going on, it probably means something bad's happening.
Yeah.
We saw this in The Conjuring where the dog didn't want to go into the house and ended up dead outside.
Yeah.
And we see it now with the dog freaking out at the office door because of the mirror. Listen to your dogs.
Yeah, if your dog's barking at a really ornate, creepy mirror that you just put in your house, get rid of it.
And if your cat's interacting with something in the corner that's not there, maybe
figure something out.
Maybe figure something out.
Call somebody.
If your fish is looking at a perfect corner of your... No, I'm just kidding.
So she has all this equipment set up, blah, 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 blah. She also has this anchor hanging from the ceiling.
Because that's not foreshadowing.
Yeah. Not at all.
Not at all.
Very sharp, anchor.
That's the main part I remembered of the movie when I first originally saw it when this movie first came out, was the anchor.
But it's connected to a timer, and it goes off every 60 seconds, but she has to like 30
minutes.
30 minutes, and she has to like do it every time.
She has a timer
before it goes off.
Yeah, she's got a timer set to reset it.
Yeah, there's a timer for the timer.
Yeah.
And then...
it's supposed to be a fail-safe to destroy it.
Yeah, to like smash the mirror.
And it was also supposed to provoke it to try to defend itself to put something on camera.
Yeah. Great idea.
Yeah.
She's brilliant.
Just fantastic. Especially when you know that the mirror can see things in the room and it likes to mess with people's heads.
Yeah.
It's always good to have something that could possibly accidentally kill you.
Mm-hmm. She then goes on to go over the history of the laser glass, which is kind of like a Charlie from Sunny Philadelphia kind of moment where she's like, and then this happened, and then this happened.
Pepe Sylvia. I will say though, even though like she's kind of going off on a rant with it and like picture, whatever. It's honestly it's fake history, but it's honestly pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is.
When she's talking about it.
You want to know the backstory.
Yeah, you want to know the backstory. And it's like, it'd be crazy if there was a real object like this that had this kind of backstory.
Yeah.
A lot of those photos obviously looked photoshopped and crazy. But
well, the original owner of it looked like her dad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they put his face on it.
Well, it was like the original owner, and then the owner after him looked exactly the same.
Yep, it was her dad.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It had to have been. And then, like, the woman who, it's like those two, the woman who dies in her bed, she's got, like, blood on her gown or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the one that Kate Siegel was, and then...
okay, that makes sense.
Then it was, like, in a bank at some point, then it was over here, then it was, like... obviously all ending in tragedy. No, and then the one person who... in the past actually tried to break it. He couldn't.
Yeah.
He stopped in for his students. I think he was a professor.
Yeah.
And his students said that he was just standing in front of it and stopped, and then he ended up just walking outside in the middle of traffic and getting killed by a car.
Yeah. The kids tried smashing it too, but which they allude to, but you find out later.
Yeah.
It happens again later. So, talking. Sorry. I am reading the wrong thing. People who smash it die. I'm like getting. I know. I'm behind now.
That's fine. We're just rolling with it.
Yeah. So we go back to her father and like the beginnings of all of this, and he has a little bandage on his finger, and
because he keeps biting his nails.
He keeps biting his nails. So he's like, I'm gonna put a bandage on it. And then he's like, oh, I'm going to take it off because I have to type. And then...
it's getting in the way of my keyboard.
It's getting in the way of my keyboard. And then the bandage is back on his finger. And then he's like trying to take it off.
And he can't take it off.
He can't take it off. And he grabs, which of course you grabbed a staple remover.
And not the scissors that were next to it.
And he ends up like ripping his whole fingernail off. And it's just pleasant.
Because the mirror makes him think that the Band-Aid is still on his finger. Ends up ripping his nail off because it's actually not there.
Pleasant.
It's just messing with his head.
It kind of reminded me of when I did drag, I never used nails, but I occasionally would. And one time I like used too much nail glue. I didn't know how to use it.
Yikes!
And it reminded me of that a little bit. It's like getting de-dragged. You just ripping them off.
Did it take off some of your actual nail?
It kind of like the texture was wrong after that until it grew back out. Yeah,
because I mean I've heard
because it ripped off parts of it.
I've heard horror stories of like fake nails. Like you chip it, it doesn't really hurt because it's a fake nail. But if it gets ripped off, it's like your real nail is underneath it. It's just like raw and like bad. Yeah,
a little much.
Oh god. Well, then when people do that, like I feel like I can feel it and I hate it.
Yeah,
it was that one, and then there was another movie. Natalie Portman, Black Swan, where she has a hangnail.
Yeah.
She ends up ripping it up her finger, and I saw that. I felt like I could feel it happening, and it hurts. Yeah. Like, it hurt mentally for me so bad.
Since I was just watching Twin Peaks last night, the first episode has...
Which, if we can say, R.I.P. to David Lynch,
I know.
who did pass away a few days ago. Fantastic director. But yes, Twin Peaks.
I think he set in motion the real-life horror movie of... Inauguration Day today. But anyway, he set into motion the real life horror that we're going to be living.
Have you seen the people made a sticker they put on their window that's like, oh, life makes more sense now. And it's just a sticker on the window that says directed by David Lynch.
Yeah, that's by David Lynch. Their dog disappeared in the office. So like, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Their mom. Oh my god. So the dog was barking.
This is what happens with tangents.
I know, I hate that. The dog was barking at the mirror, but he was from the outside. So she's like, just get in the office. So she locks the dog in the office.
The mom's just getting sick of the dog barking so much.
And then the dog disappeared.
Which, like, I love dogs, but valid.
Yeah, truly.
Locks she puts the dog in the office, she doesn't actually lock the office, though. The office locks itself because she tries to open it again. And then later on, she says, like, I had to lock the dog in the office. And it's like, so now are you just making yourself lie about that?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I don't know.
But when he opens it, the dog's just gone.
Yeah.
And she's trying to, like, the brother in the present is trying to be like, no, the dog was sick. It went to the hospital. I remember her calling.
He remembers completely different things.
And the sister's like, no. Yeah. This is how it happened, because I sat outside that door the whole time until Dad got home and opened the door, and the dog was gone.
I really like that it's like a false memory sort of thing, and you don't know who has the false memories.
You don't know if it's true. Yeah, you don't know which one is the real one or not. If it's like, oh, it actually was messing with your head and you thought it disappeared, but really it was sick.
Yeah.
Or if you thought it was sick because it was messing with your head, it just kind of makes you question everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Which is cool to add that psychological element to the audience, too, because now you're questioning everything.
Yeah. For instance, was Dad cheating with a really hot woman, like a hot, skinny, like beautiful woman, or a ghost?
Or a ghost.
Or was it a ghost?
Or was it a woman living in the office?
Yeah, there might have been a woman living under his
apparently
desk
would have just been like cheating with him while the entire family's home.
Yeah.
In the office that's next to the front door that apparently nobody walks by.
Yeah. See, there's already holes in the brother story now.
Right, yeah.
When he actually convinces his sister that she might be wrong about all of this, and she's like going, you know what, I think you might be right. Okay, you got through to me. And then she goes to the office, and all of the plants that she put in there died.
All the plants are dead, and the cameras,
the cameras
are facing each other, and everything's moved around.
Yeah.
And then when they play it back, they see themselves doing it.
Yeah.
Not remembering them doing any of it because they weren't in the room.
Exactly. I mean, obviously they didn't kill the plants.
No.
Yeah.
But they moved the plants to the ground and then pointed the cameras at each other.
Yeah.
So is it different versions of them? Or is it actually them doing it? Or
yeah,
can't really tell. Because at some point they do see themselves through the window as different versions of them. So is it creating versions of them?
That part was a bit confusing. I mean, there was some obvious like artistic license
but
there.
It does. It does mess with your head a lot, especially towards the end when it starts getting a little crazier. But I feel like it's a good build up to it, where it starts out with kind of smaller stuff and then builds into this like at the ending where just everything starts going crazy.
Well, yeah, it's the same thing with the family at first, where there's like poltergeist activity at first with the books lined up on the floor and things that are basically like
I feel like this is another horror trope too, where it's like, oh, it's always the dad that ends up going crazy. It's either this or The Shining.
Oh, he the dad goes, I put like everyone has gone Shining level crazy.
Yeah.
It is very that.
Yeah.
She does mention there's a radius of influence for the mirror, like certain number of, feet away from the mirror. It doesn't have any influence there, so they can use their phone, they can do blah, 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 which is obviously just doesn't work out for them.
No, and because I think her theory isn't actually true. And I think that's like, towards the end, you realize like there's no actual radius for this thing. No. Like, maybe there is within miles or something, but like with her, it's like, oh, it's not out in the kitchen because this thing's still alive here, so this is fine. But it's like, no, it's probably just messing with you and making you think that.
Because later things start happening
to them outside.
In that area specifically that she said.
Yeah. And then it starts happening to them outside too, in the front yard.
Exactly. So it's if they even went outside.
Yeah. If they did. Yeah. So where's the radius?
Yeah.
And it's like, can you even tell that you're out there, or are you still in the house and you think you're outside?
Exactly.
And that's the problem.
Yeah. It does start. Oh, where the mother starts descending into madness. Where she looks into the mirror and sees her C-section scar like come open,
split
and
open,
and then she turns around and just instantly starts attacking her son, and then chases after the kids upstairs, and
because she sees herself in the mirror do that, and then the mirror version of her like looks at her, and it's got these glazed over white eyes, and it looks creepy, and then the son trying to snap her out of it, she turns around, grabs him. I don't know how many times they try to choke their kids in this movie, but
it's like Homer Simpson,
right? Chases them upstairs, and they lock themselves in the room, and she's banging on it like the mom in Hereditary.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we flash back. This is kind of like the son's flashback.
Yeah.
And then the girl's saying, "Snap out of it."
Yeah.
Yeah, she says
Snap
that.
out of it.
Snap out of it. Snap out of it. I can't do Cher, obviously.
They because the way they transition with a lot of those was kind of cool, but it's also like, here's a moment where it's like present day brother, past sister yelling at him, and then it switches. Now she's back in the present day and all this. It's like making them feel like they're children again, making them seem like they're children again.
Yeah.
Or things where like, oh, Karen Gillan's now walking through the living room, but the dad is now passing her on the stairs, because it's like that weird connection of like past and present. So they don't see each other, obviously, because one of them's the past, one of them's the present. But it's still a cool transition the way you do that, where it's like things are happening at the same time.
Yeah. It's very windy this evening.
Yeah, if you hear anything in the background right now, it's like...
Well, it's funny because my apartment sounds like a haunted house when there's a little bit of wind for some reason.
Of course, I have to be sitting in the corner that's like creaking.
Yeah, because it creaks.
It sounds so creepy.
The windows rattle, it creaks. You can hear like that through whatever little holes. It's yeah. I mean,
if I get sucked out of the window,
those apartments aren't that old.
If I get sucked out of the window like Candyman, you'll know it.
Yes.
But yeah, I loved those transitions they did from past to present sometimes, and how they would have the children interacting with the present day people to like switch them and bring them back into reality.
Yeah.
Because like when you would have like her yell like "snap out of it," and then it's like, oh, now he's back into reality, so it's the older version of himself, but it's the younger version of her yelling that. It's just cool the way they did that, the way he did the transitions.
Dad comes home. He subdues her with a chokehold.
Oh my god! Just put his wife in a full chokehold.
I know, she passes out. You know,
is Mom okay? She's asleep.
Mommy's sick, and she's in her room resting. Really, she's
chained to the wall
like a dog, while she eats like pottery or glass or something.
At some point, she breaks a pot and just starts chewing on it, and her teeth are like missing.
Oh, speaking of the fucking biting into the light bulb thing, I can't. That was the only thing that like got me, because so she lays an apple that she's been eating. I hate it because
they ruined it in the trailer too, and I was like, no, should have been a surprise.
I know, but yeah, there's like she lays her apple that she's been eating right next to the light bulbs she's changing, and then she grabs the apple. She does grab the apple, but the mirror makes her think she just bit into a light bulb, and there's blood everywhere.
Her mouth,
she's taking it out of her mouth.
Chunk of glass.
Oh, it's so fucking gross.
But then when the brother sees her and it turns around, then it actually is the apple. It's just messing with her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
then she was like, I think we need to stay together.
Which I feel like they still don't.
No, they absolutely don't. It still pulls them apart.
It still pulls them apart at some point to get them alone and mess with them.
Yeah. The kids in the past, we're just going to keep going back and forth because that's what the movie does.
Yeah.
The kids in the past are trying to call a doctor, but the spirit in the mirror is talking to them, saying, like, have your dad call. They're like, they keep saying, have your dad call, and it's the same voice.
It's the same voice on the phone because it's messing with the voice of the phone.
Yeah.
So she ends up going to get a neighbor.
Yes.
To be like, can you come take a look? And of course, the dad's like...
Foiled.
Yeah. But then the dad's like, yeah, she's just sick upstairs. Like, we'll go golfing sometime. And the neighbor's like, okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure everything was fine.
Yeah.
And then just leaves.
Yeah.
It's like, if I'm sorry, like, I know it's not my kid, but if somebody's kid came to my house and was like, my mom is chained up in the bedroom. And she's, like, bleeding and she's messed up, I'm probably not even just going to go over there. I'm just going to call the cops.
Yep, that's what you do. That's what you should
I'm not going to go check in with the dad. I'm just going to call the police. Yeah. Walk over, and then, like, walk over when they get there. Keep her with me and be like, stay here until they get here.
I think it helps for me. I think, like, I never would have known exactly what to do, but since I work in security.
Right.
So after that little flashback, she wakes up... Karen Gillan wakes up and she's like kind of up against the mirror right before the timer's going to go off and the anchor would come down and kill her. They catch it just in time.
She's like clever.
Yeah, so clever.
She keeps treating the mirror in this movie like it's a person.
Yeah.
Or like
she
it's
can
like,
outsmart it.
Like it's an actual, like the mirror itself is an entity, not that it's a haunted object.
Exactly.
She's always like, you know, it needs to. She's always like, oh, are you hungry? Like,
yeah,
like whatever. It needs to feed. Like, oh, you're so clever. Like she's like treating it like it's an actual person, which
in maybe, a way it is.
In a way, yeah, it kind of is. It's like
it is a character in the movie. Yeah, really,
it is. And some would say the character was the city itself. Some would say New York was a character in the movie. But yeah, she calls it clever because it's messing with her, which of course, again, with that moment is foreshadowing of what happens at the end of the movie.
Yeah. So there's some other flashbacks. It keeps going back to like when the son first sees the spirit, and then I don't know. It keeps cutting back and forth, and then she's walking through the house with her camera on her phone to see what's real, basically. Yeah, to see if like all the pottery on the floor and this and that is real, and she's like, oh, it's not that really there. Oh, okay, but it was the pot that she actually just broke against the wall because you see her break it.
She was she was putting up the lanterns because they lost power.
Yeah.
I don't know why you needed 8 lanterns for one hallway.
She puts them like in a runway style down the hallway,
4 on each side, and I'm like, what?
Just for visuals.
Just for the visuals. You know? I mean, it's beautiful. But,
yeah.
But yeah, she ends up being like, dead plant, kicks the pot, breaks it.
Yeah.
Then she sees broken stuff upstairs, and she's like, it's not real. This isn't real. Goes downstairs, sees the same broken pieces. Was like, this isn't real. Gets at her camera. She doesn't see it in the camera. Yeah. So she's like, it's got to be fake.
It's not real. Yeah.
It's not real.
Yeah. And then she's looking at stuff. She gets surprised.
Yeah.
And then it's her mom.
It's her mom.
Dead mom.
Yeah, comes up behind her, like in front of her with the camera.
Yeah.
And so she ends up having a piece of the porcelain in her hand that she thinks is not real, and stabs her with it out of reaction.
Yeah.
Only to find out that it's actually her fiance who came to check on her.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there for a moment thinking, like, this can't be real.
Yeah.
The mirror's just messing with me.
Yeah.
But then he's there in the camera. And even though he calls at the same time that she does it, it is actually him and he's dead.
Yeah. Because the time was incorrect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he was supposed to call every hour on the hour.
Yeah, and then she's like, but this is fake. Only to look down and see the pot that she just kicked off into a corner and broke.
Yeah.
It's like expert level of like psychological messing with.
Yeah.
Messing with you so hard.
So they kind of... Is this when they run into the yard? I don't remember. Yeah, they go out into the yard, but then they're not really in the yard.
Oh, I think it was just the brother, wasn't it? Because he goes out with the phone to call...
Oh, yeah, he goes out with the phone.
He goes out at some point to call his doctor.
The police. Or his doctor, but then he calls the police.
Then he goes out to call the police after this happens.
Yeah.
Because the first one was the doctor. He goes outside, and then he's like back inside, I think.
Well, this is when they both go in the yard.
Oh, right. Okay.
But they're not really in the yard because they're also inside.
They're also inside. So
they look and see
which versions of them are real?
They see themselves standing in front of the mirror when the timer's about to go off.
Yeah. I think he even says it. He's like, it's just trying to trick us to go in there and stand there because the timer's going to go off soon. Yeah. So I think maybe the real ones are the ones outside.
Well, you actually don't know because then they aren't outside.
Yeah, then they aren't outside.
So maybe they never went outside.
Shift,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the past and present becomes very muddled at this point.
Yeah, because I think what happens at a certain point is then it starts to play out exactly what happened to them when they were kids.
Yes.
So past and present end up joining together.
Yeah.
And they keep switching old or younger, but it's literally just playing out exactly what happened when they were kids. Because it opens with his dream of what happened when they were children.
Yeah.
With the dad with the gun and the woman that he sees and all this stuff. But now it's like actually showing you what happened by having the past and present come together.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like good, as in like, build up. Everything comes together right at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit hits the fan, goes crazy.
Yeah.
Hard to tell what's going on a little bit because past, present, whatever. But it's all a culmination of them in the house, running away from the mom as she gets out of the thing.
Well, they unleash her for some reason.
Yeah, she lets her go.
Oh, he lets her go. Yeah, the dad lets her go.
Dad lets her go.
Presumably to kill the children.
Yeah. Dad lets her go. Dad now has, the boy goes into the office to see where his dad is, and Kate Siegel's character is, biting into his neck, and then, looks over at him, comes to the door.
Yeah.
He runs. Mom's chasing the daughter at some point. It just, everything starts going crazy.
Daughter jumps out the window. She gets into the yard. She hears a gunshot from inside.
Yeah.
Which was, I don't know what that gunshot was.
Well, so...
Was it supposed to be a...
That gunshot was, I thought he was pointing it at the sun.
Yeah, it was very confusing.
I can't remember what gunshot that was, but she... Because the daughter jumps out the window, and imagine as a kid, you're running away from your mom who's going crazy, and you jump out a second-story window.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she didn't break her ankle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's I know you landed in grass, but that's not going to stop you breaking your ankle. Just to hear the gunshot, to go back inside to see where the kid is, or her brother is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little sad because you get this moment where the mom does tackle her and tries to choke her out.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
And it's obviously these kids were traumatized. The mom tries to choke her out at some point.
Well, the mom's attempting to she has her on the floor. She's trying to choke her.
But then she wakes up.
And then she has this moment of clarity.
Yeah.
Where she's oh, I think the mirror released
released her for a second.
At that moment to have a moment of clarity right before the dad shoots her.
The dad shoots her.
Yeah.
Kills her.
Yeah.
And then...
They try to smash it with golf clubs. The golf clubs that they had.
And it's off screen, and they show that they're actually hitting the wall because the mirror is no.
Yeah.
You cannot do that.
And then the dad comes in with a gun, threatening the kids.
Yeah.
The son knocks it out of his hand with
golf club.
I don't know. Was it a 5-iron? I don't know. I don't know.
We need to know the specific golf club.
I know nothing.
Because there are some that are better to knock guns out of hands.
Probably.
Than others. Probably. And I would say the irons would do better than a driver.
That's true. I don't know the difference.
I think drivers are a little too light to knock people and guns out of people's
hands. Gotcha.
The irons are that hard metal.
But then the kid, the son grabs the gun. He's pointing it at the father. But then the father is oh, go ahead and... No, you shoot me.
And
he pulls the trigger for him.
I think that was actually his moment of clarity.
It was.
And he was I need you to do this because this thing will not leave us alone.
Yeah.
So then he ends up pushing his thumb with the gun and killing him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, that is what I do at Top Golf, by the way, with those, is I just practice knocking guns out of people's hands.
Of course, the father, right before he shoots himself, basically says, run.
Yeah, he tells them to get out. They run. What is cool about this whole ending scene too is we get to see more of the spirits that were in the mirror.
Yeah, they're all lined up behind the kids.
Yeah, it's that time, and then whenever they're running through the house, you see them occasionally just behind stuff and freaking them out and everything.
Yeah.
But this time then they're all lined up, and Kate Siegel's character opens her mouth and you hear the timer going off.
Yeah.
And that's when he wakes up. But she's still somewhere else. And the mom's trying to hug her through the mirror.
Yeah.
And he thinks, okay, she's not in the room. I'm just going to hit this thing and just kill it.
Yeah.
But when he does, she's actually in the room standing in front of the mirror, and the weight comes down and kills her.
It smashes her
against the mirror.
Smashes her head against the mirror.
It's almost like it was telling us this was going to happen.
Yeah. Truly.
Even if you haven't watched the movie, you don't know who it is, but it's still somebody's gonna get him at some point. But blinded by her own revenge and the trauma, she just ends up being the one to get killed by it.
Yeah, but so he called the police earlier, and he actually did call the police because they show up now.
Yeah,
and she truly fucked him over.
Oh my god! Because then he gets arrested now for her murder.
Yeah.
As it shows him when he was a kid getting arrested for their dad's murder, even though he didn't actually do it.
Yeah.
And now he's getting arrested for her murder, even though he didn't actually do it. I mean, he kind of did, but it wasn't.
Really.
So now he's just getting taken back to the place he was to try to re-get over whatever.
Yeah, she truly is the villain in this.
I feel like she the mirror is messed up. The mirror souls and all that.
But it's just its nature.
But
it's just
the mirror. I will say, even though the mirror is messed up, haunted, kills people, whatever, the mirror's not the one that brought him and made him relive his trauma.
No,
his sister did.
She like willingly provoked all of this.
Yeah, and brought him back into it.
And like her blind, revenge,
made her kill her husband.
Yeah,
and herself.
Yeah,
and then get him blamed for it.
Yeah,
again, which is crazy, and that's where it ends.
Yeah, and that's where it ends.
He doesn't even get a redemption arc on that.
No,
he just has to deal with now the fact that he's getting arrested for the murder of his sister.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you had to pick an antagonist in this movie,
oh yeah,
I know the mirror is an antagonist. It's her. She's. I feel like she's the antagonist.
If they had just let the mirror continue on wherever it was going,
yeah,
none of it.
It's like sure somebody would have died.
Yeah,
but it wouldn't have been you anymore.
Yeah.
And who's to say somebody else wouldn't realize what's going on? Maybe their kids or something and be able to try to fight it.
Because that mirror's just going to go somewhere else now.
Just go somewhere else.
And kill more people.
Either way, it's going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because even though the anchor fell, you were in between it, so it's not like it broke it.
Yeah. So move on with your life.
Yeah.
That's the moral of the story. Yeah.
I'm wondering if they would ever make a sequel to this movie of a family who moves into that house after all this happened. But
I would rather see maybe the first.
That would a prequel
or house
for one of those stories would actually be pretty cool.
Yeah, hopefully it's not stupid.
Right,
because I can just see it like the mirror being made, and it was like.
Let's not do the creation.
I know, because I'm just picturing how terrible that could possibly be.
It's like Annabelle. Like I will say.
The mirror looked creepy too.
Yeah.
It looked exceptionally creepy.
I think it was,
I think when you make things just like Annabelle, when you make things look too creepy in a horror movie, like an object or it's like
it kind of takes you
make it look a little more normal.
Yeah,
then it's creepier, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they were trying to make it look like it's been around for centuries.
Yeah. But you could at least look like someone took care of it.
Yeah. Like make it look like somebody actually took care of it. Maybe the mirror fixed itself and cleans itself. Because
exactly.
It doesn't have to look. It doesn't have to look dilapidated and old and have stuff in the glass. Like it would actually be creepier if it was like this mirror is centuries old, but it looks pristine and perfect.
Exactly.
It would be creepy. Like
yeah.
But yeah, even because I think Annabelle Creation was maybe the second movie. It was the prequel movie. And that one was actually, I think, better than the first.
Really? I barely remember it, honestly. I know I've seen all of the Annabelles, but
yeah, I think, this one, I don't think you need, here's how the mirror was made.
No.
I feel like out of all of those...
fires of Hades.
Forged in the fire. I just feel like, with all those stories that she brings up, you could probably make a good movie out of one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Because some of them were actually interesting. Like if you had the professor in the school, whatever, or the bank that had it with the bank teller and everything.
Yeah. Do you know what I want? Is a movie where the original, since it was English, I think originally, it was British. I think it was made in England.
Which one?
The Mirror.
Oh yes, it was. In England, London.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. London's in England.
It was in the 1700s.
That was made.
London is in France.
Since it was made in England, I want the first. I want a movie about the first owner, and it's Matt Berry.
This is the most devious mayor in all of New York City.
That would just be so funny.
Oh my God, Matt Berry's a genius.
Oh God, he is.
Yeah, I think they could do a prequel of this, and that would be good.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we should probably watch. We could watch as a funny horror movie, the original movie "What We Do in the Shadows."
Oh, that is true.
Yeah, the Taika Waititi.
I mean, because that's got so many vampire movie references and tropes and everything, and we haven't really watched a vampire movie.
Yeah,
so that'd be kind of cool.
I've never seen the original.
You've never seen the original?
I've only seen the series. I've never seen the original.
The movie is so good.
I've heard it is. Although I do love that. What's his name? The guy from Guillermo del Toro's movies and stuff.
Doug Jones.
Doug Jones is in
the Baron
as the Baron. He's just so good.
He's so good at playing monsters.
And I love that he I love that at first he's like this monstrous thing with a lot of prosthetics, but then as it goes on, he becomes more human looking.
He's just a human at some point.
Probably because he didn't want to put all that shit.
Oh god! Can you imagine
for that?
I mean, I know he's probably used to it.
He's used to it, but like
for those who don't know, Doug Jones is in pretty much every Guillermo del Toro movie.
Yeah, the fawn from
Pan's Labyrinth. He's also the person with the eyes.
The eyes. Yeah.
He was the
Shape of Water.
Shape of Water. He was the creature in the Shape of Water that she falls in love with.
I really love him in Star Trek. Oh, the new Star Trek. Discovery.
He's so also, I forget his name, but the kid that comes back to life in Hocus Pocus that has his mouth stitched closed.
Yeah.
That's also Doug Jones.
Yeah. What is that guy's name?
I forget
the character's name.
It's Billy or something.
It is Billy. It is Billy.
Right?
It's Billy. And it's funny because I watched Hocus Pocus just a couple of years ago for the first time.
Oh, really?
I didn't watch it as a kid. I mean, which, you know...
The second one's not bad, but the original... There's something about how they made movies back then.
That's true.
That just, like, it has way more of, like, a comfortable, like, relatable, like... You get lost in it more.
A little.
I feel like sometimes when they make movies now, especially of older things, they either rush it or it just feels weird because of the new technology.
Well, it's forced nostalgia.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
It's nostalgia for a buck, really, most of the time.
This one wasn't bad, though. The second one.
The Hocus Pocus 2?
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. I actually kind of liked it. I didn't, grow up with the original, obviously. That was the first time I'd seen it as an adult, so it was kind of like, okay, that was great.
I love the original, especially because it's like Disney, and it's they're talking about like needing a virgin, and all this stuff, and it's like old Disney, so they're just like getting away with whatever.
Yeah. Oh, well, old Disney also had a witch fighting Nazis, and Angela Lansbury.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
That was my absolute favorite when I was a kid. Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Because that was another movie they got away with was the Watcher in the Woods, which is a Disney movie. That's like an actual
Betty Davis.
With Betty Davis, and they did do a remake with Angelica Houston, but like the original with Betty Davis, it's like literally a horror movie just with Disney's name on it.
Really, I haven't seen it.
And it's not like so scary that like some Disney kid couldn't watch it.
Yeah,
but like. It's just weird that Disney has like an actual horror movie.
That is weird.
I guess now it's not too weird since they own everything. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not that weird now.
But for the 70s,
they own everything. Opulence. They own everything. Okay, sorry.
But yeah, I enjoyed this movie. I know it's like Mike Flanagan's like second. I think his like second movie or big movie that he did because. His first one is Absentia. I could be wrong. I have to kind of look it up, but it is one of his. It's one of his first movies, especially bigger movies.
Okay.
That actually got like theater release and everything. And I do remember it coming out because it was 2013. I mean, it was like 2 years after I graduated high school. So I do remember going to see it in theaters. It's just when we watch it now, I didn't remember anything because I had only seen it once.
Oh, okay.
And it's been like 12 years.
Yeah,
it's been like 13 years. 13 years.
Well, it's good that you watched it with fresh eyes.
Fresh eyes again, yeah. But no, yeah, it's a good like little horror movie.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
I would say probably like. I don't know, 3.5 mirrors.
I'm gonna give it 3 bitten into light bulbs because ending wasn't. Unfortunately, the ending was just not satisfying for me.
I actually, I would take.
I was so mad at her. I was like, oh my bitch.
I would actually agree. I would actually agree more with 3. I would say 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, I know it's kind of pushing for you to not be super happy with her.
Oh yeah, it is. It is, and it's not. And normally, I am all for movies that don't have a happy ending. Yeah, I'm all for it. But this one just didn't hit me right. I don't know why.
I think it's because that kid, the brother deserved a happy ending.
Because he was so... And he's hot.
He just got fucked over twice. And he's hot.
Maybe that's what it was. Like, he doesn't deserve
And he's really cute.
He's hot.
He's also not a bad actor.
He's not a bad actor. His character is just so sweet. And it's just so, like...
And was actually trying to do the things that you're supposed to do when you have trauma in your situation and stuff. Yeah. And tried to... And actually got help and everything. Yeah. I mean, some of it was forced help, but then it actually helped him and everything. Yeah. And she just messed it up completely. Yeah. He deserved a happy ending and did not get it.
Yeah, that's what bothers... That really bothered me. You know, it's... it's one thing to kind of, like... I'm gonna turn it on its head and not give a happy ending. That's great, but like...
It just makes you feel so bad.
Yeah, it has to be to someone who kind of asked for it, or... You know what I mean? Like, it has to... In order to satisfy the audience, I feel like it has to be someone who deserved it in some way, the bad ending.
Well, what about if he ended up dying and she ended up getting arrested?
Perfect. Then I would have been fine with it.
Because I honestly thought, like, watching this again, I'm like... Because I knew that she died at the end. That was, like, the one part I remember in the movie is that happening. But I'm sitting there thinking, God, what if it turned it on its head and it was actually him standing in front of the mirror with a mom because he deserved to have some sort of reconciliation. Yeah. And then she hits it.
That would have been...
Ends up killing her brother and realizing, oh my God, I've been so absorbed by this. Yeah. I just killed my brother. Now I'm getting arrested. That would have been
That would have been that would have been an absolutely satisfying, making more sense kind of ending to me.
But is that kind of the Steven Spielberg, it's wrapped up in a bow kind of thing?
Yeah. I'm fine with that.
I think in this case, I would be, only because I feel so bad because he deserved to have that happy ending.
Yeah,
or at least an ending where he's not going back to jail.
Yeah,
and like having to relive all of this trauma.
Yeah,
because she just drags him down with her so hard into this like spiraling maze of her mind that she's just so wrapped up in revenge and everything.
And I give it 3 just because it was a good movie overall. Yeah. Other
it's a very well made movie.
Yeah. I was like 3. Yeah. I was gonna say like 2.5, but I'm gonna give it 3 because it was well made.
I was gonna say
and well written.
3.5, but I do agree with 3 just because there are certain things that might have been better if they would have done it a little differently.
Yeah.
But in general, a very well executed movie.
Yeah.
Other than that little part at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where somebody's life never actually calms down and never gets better.
I mean, we have enough.
He was out of the hospital for like 3 days.
Seriously.
And he was okay for like 3 days. Yeah. And actually putting up boundaries and everything just to have it ruined.
Absolutely amazing.
Insane.
This is a good argument for going no contact with your family.
With certain family members.
With certain family.
Especially if they voted a certain way in this election.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. I'm all for it.
They always say but they're your family.
Doesn't matter.
Does not matter. If they're going to hurt you in some way, maybe just stay away.
It doesn't matter. I think, I came up with this quote myself. As queer people, we get to choose.
Yes, that was definitely your original quote.
I came up with that just now.
As queer people, we get to choose our families.
But I think, truly, I do think that because of that, we have a little more insight into boundaries with actual family members.
That's
Because we can be like, no, these people who really get me are my friends.
Well, I will, and that's family, what I was going to say is, like, honestly, even if you don't have, like, a terrible home life, a lot of the times your friends who you choose to be around you closely just understand you more than your parents or your actual family, because usually they're going through the same shit.
Yeah.
But stay away from toxic family members.
Yeah, that's the moral of the story.
And also, maybe don't buy that mirror at an antique shop that could be centuries old and killing people.
But I like it.
But I want it.
It's pretty. I was actually going to buy one.
It is a pretty mirror.
Yeah, I was going to buy an antique mirror. And it was kind of like dilapidated a little bit. It was a little chipped off, like the wood molding around it. But I was like, I want that. I'm kind of glad I didn't get it because who knows? Who knows?
I always hate that too. Like, it's a little chipped, or like antique shops. It's like, oh, this plate is like, it's really cool, but there's like a chip in it. I'm like, who cares? It looks cool.
I like that. Like, I like character and things.
It's got a little bit of character. Who cares?
Yeah. Well, that is the end of this episode. And we hope that you will like and subscribe and comment.
And tell your friends.
And tell your friends, tell your family, tell your doctor.
And just question if this episode is real or the mirror's just making you watch it.
Until next time, this is Chris.
And this is Legend.
And this was